Nerd Lag Game Club. Welcome to the Nerd Lag Game Club podcast, the podcast that gives us a chance to step back and play a game with friends. I'm Corey, and I'm joined with four party members today: Lauren,
Hello.
Tonsa,
What up?
Tony,
Going on.
and Dan Boy.
Hello.
In this episode of the Game Club, we're painting this city with rock and roll and playing 2008's Blob. Blob was developed by Blue Tongue Entertainment and published by THQ/THQ Nordic because it was released twice. Blue Tongue Entertainment has developed both this, its sequel, and a bunch of movie games for the GameCube. And a weird one, it actually helped develop Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. Before we get any further into Blob, I want to give the spoiler warning, and I would recommend playing this before listening to the episode. This was our game pick for April, and it was my pick, so I'm going to give a brief summary of the story for Blob. So basically, this story takes place in a gray, white, and black world. All the color has been sucked out of the world. You are the leader of the Resistance, a group of gelatinous blob-like creatures that are trying to bring the color back throughout the different areas of this world. Basically, you go into each little section of this city, or it's kind of a world. It's like a big island. And you paint each area doing minor tasks and things along the way until you get to Commander Black, which is the leader of the leader of, I don't know what they're called, the Great Gradients. And you have an epic battle with him in space. So that's pretty much it. That's a pretty brief summary of the story. This game is pretty much gameplay over story, but that's the story portion of it. We're doing something a little different this episode, and we've selected who's going to lead us into each section that we tackle. With that being said, Tonsa is going to tell us all about the gameplay mechanics for Blob.
Alright, the Blob. Its gameplay is kind of like a Tony Hawk graffiti game mode, smashed into Sonic. At least that's how I thought of it. Just without the tricks and super speed. So you're basically just a clear little blob that you start out with, and you roll around in some paint, collected paint, and you paint. the whole game is painting. I didn't realize how silly that would sound. But you're just trying to cover as much of the world as possible, make it all colorful and bright. You have enemies which you defeat like a Sonic in like a Sonic game by jumping on them. But how to defeat them, you either have to have the matching color or the right amount of paint. There's challenges along the way, which vary from races to painting certain buildings certain colors to just collecting like 50 paint and attacking a monument or landmark and uncovering that. And the game is progressed by unlocking gates, which are linked to a score, which you could do the challenges or just color everything.
That's pretty fair. It's a lot of like aerial kinda. Like you're always scaling up buildings typically.
Yeah, it's a typical platformer-esque. Like they have like a thing called Z-moves, which are these platforms that you just hit. I used an Xbox controller on the PC, so it was like LT and A, and I was able to just traverse the world that way, or just like wall riding and jumping up stuff.
Yeah.
I just wish I had super speed. Like, let me Sonic charge.
Yeah, another thing I'd like to mention about gameplay is when there's the little enemy guys, the like Gradients, or I think that's what they're called. They'll shoot you with black ink, and if you do not clean the black ink off of your body quick enough, you will die. There's little pickups along the way that gives you extra lives too.
Yeah, and you hit water to clean off your ink. Sometimes you have to reset your ink because you have to mix certain colors. Sometimes you have to get purple. I mean, but you're already orange.
Before anyone else says anything, can you please go over what makes purple, green, and yellow? Did you learn your colors from this?
What?
Did you learn your colors in this game? Tell me what makes orange.
What, yellow and red?
All right.
I'm
Now
so
what?
confused. What are you talking about? You're trying to call me out and shit.
what
Of course, I beat the game. I had to learn some colors. God, you mix them all together, you get brown.
You do, which I don't know how accurate that is.
It wasn't really. I don't know either. I feel like it'd be
It
way
is
weirder.
pretty accurate. Have you ever done that?
No.
You just get like a brownish tan, like
It's,
dark
it's
tan
always
color.
like a
Yeah.
brownish, tannish color.
Yeah. So, what makes purple? Well, I'm not dropping this until we go through them all.
Red and blue. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's fine. It's not a part of my art thing or anything.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. You want me to Bob Ross this up?
Outside of gameplay wise, there are pickups. So there's these like purple spirals that you have to pick up. There's 13 of them in each of the. What are the styles?
There's styles for like variants. So like you start off each level with like just plain color, and then you'll hit those, and then you'll go into like some will be area like arrows or like graffiti esque. That's what the purple was. Red was extra life, and then the multicolor was just a bonus to your score.
Yeah.
Did you mention that each level is timed?
Oh, yeah. I guess they're timed, but you could go as slow as possible.
I never had any issues with time.
Yeah, they're timed. I think they start out at 15 or 20 minutes and work your way down or something like that. Then you could just do, I think it's 15. And you could do challenges or just coloring the world. You'll like free citizens and they'll come outside and you run them over like any color. And then they drop a little clock, like they'll drop a little clock that adds like 30 seconds or a minute to your time.
The horror game known as the Blob, where you just run over
I mean, I would be
civilians.
kind of terrified.
Millions.
Anything that we missed gameplay wise, Lauren, Dan? Can you think of anything?
The only thing I can really think of is like the different kinds of enemies. And there's also like the colored tank things, where whenever you'd break all three of the things, you'd get like your superpower.
You get like the
type
Mario
of
Star of
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah, those are nice when you're trying to take out like a large group of enemies.
You also,
yeah.
if you're doing a challenge that's like paint these a certain color, it'll paint them the certain color.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, instead of you having to paint like a whole section or go through certain things, if you're in like that mode, it'll paint it for you.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a thing until like the second or third to last level.
Same if you go to jump on like the things that are like we need purple, like 50, like the jump in. You can do that, and then if there's another one, it doesn't matter. You just go right into them.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
it
at
doesn't
all.
consume your colors.
Yeah, and they're timed, so it's like 30 seconds of or whatever of just like unlimited paint, and it does whatever the objective is.
All right. So our next section, we hand it over to Lauren. She's going to talk about what I would consider is the main theme of this game, and she's going to talk about the art for the Blob.
Okay, so the lead artist, his name is Lewis Mitchell. He was also the lead artist for The Blob 2, an artist for Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island, and did graphics for the game Serious Sam.
Oh, I know Serious Sam.
The concept artist's name is Linda Mills. They did concept art for The Blob 2 and the UI art for Need for Speed No Limits.
That's
I felt
so
like
random.
that one was a little, yeah, I felt like that was kind of random.
And the GUI art, so it's like even more random than like art for the game.
Yeah, I felt like it was kind of like a oh, take a left turn right now. Kind of weird.
Mm.
The whole world's monochromatic, so it's black, white, and gray. Blob is exactly what you think, a blob with no feet, big white eyes with no pupils, which is kind of weird. And he leaves a trail of whatever color he is, like at that exact moment on the ground, kind of like a slug with its goo. You have ink tanks, I guess you would call them, in the world. They have primary colors, You can absorb them, and you can paint everything. The buildings, billboards, you name it, you can pretty much paint it. You can combine them to make other colors, like blue and yellow make green, red and blue make purple, red and yellow make orange, and obviously, like you guys said, all the colors make brown.
Did you notate that, Tonsa?
No.
The inkies are basically cops that start out gray. Further in the level, you have specific color ones to defeat them that are that color. The red ones remind me of the Queen's Guard that stands outside of Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was intentional or just kind of a coincidence, but I thought that was pretty neat. And then I played a game with a similar idea on the PS4. It's called The Last Tinker. The world's gray, you fill it with color. I thought it was super cool as well. So overall, I felt the art was like a unique way to interact with the world.
Yeah, I think overall, like, it's cool to see the world become back to like its former glory, basically. Everything is kind of like, it kind of seems like dreary and gloomy, and then as you start painting stuff, like it seems like you notice that it's brighter, almost like the sun came out. I really like that. And just a side note, the game that I thought of outside of this was the Saboteur.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm actually looking it up, trying to see if I can find it anywhere, like on anything.
Because the Saboteur starts out like monochromatic the same way, and then as you liberate Nazi areas, it starts like filling it in.
A very different game. That's why I wasn't really gonna mention it,
but that's what I
probably
thought of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you covered a lot of the art. I mean, I got some facts there that I didn't know, especially the weird Need for Speed fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cartoony though. Like, I don't know if you mentioned that. It's at no point in time does this game think, "Oh, this is realistic." It is very
called
cartoony.
De Blob.
Yeah,
If
De
you were expecting-
Blob. I always think it's French. De Blob. But all right.
Actually Dutch, by the way.
What?
I don't know if you guys looked into it, but the game started out as a like a school project.
Huh.
And the game had two names. It was De Blob, which is Dutch. De is the. And the English one, when they did that project, was The Blob. And when THQ Nordic picked it up, they went with the Dutch one and did De Blob.
I like it better as De Blob.
Yeah.
Same.
The Blob sounds pretty
You're
generic.
just doing like
Yeah.
a school
Sounds
project
generic.
Yeah,
and then making that
the
a
game
game.
was only made by like, I think it said 4 or 5 people for the original one.
I did see that it launched like a year previous than its Wii launch, on like, I don't know, like some kind of mobile device. It wasn't like iOS, but like maybe like Android or
I don't know.
something.
I mean, at that point, iOS wouldn't even really been too high. Like,
Right.
it had to probably be Android or some sort of equivalent. That person, like, we mentioned the Blob on Twitter, and we had a couple interactions where people were talking about playing it on the DS.
Right, right.
It's a whole different game on the DS.
Yeah, somebody said it was like 2D. There's like a 2D version. It's like a tie-in between. I don't know. I didn't realize there was so much lore and background in this game.
Yeah, it's apparently, I would assume the DS is probably more similar to the original project.
Probably.
But all right. So next up is Dan. He is our sound engineer for this episode, and he's going to tell us all about the music for De Blob.
Don't
So
make
after
Dan sound
listening
better
to-
than what he is. He's not an engineer.
Oh.
For this episode, he's
He is this episode.
Yeah, for this episode, man. But after listening to Lauren talk about the art, I feel like I slacked off with the music. But I'm gonna go through this the best I can, which isn't very good. So throughout your game, whenever you go into each level, you can select different moods, which will kind of dictate the feel of your level. So like blissful, it's more kind of upbeat like, funky. I described it as like being at like a jazz club. Like it just has that feel.
Yeah.
All of them will kind of give you a different type of feel. Some of them might be closer to others. While you paint like buildings or such, whenever you hit the building, it'll do kind of like a record scratch, like each time you hit a building. That kind of I don't know if it like restarts the music or how that really plays in. But I mean, I like the music overall. I
Yeah.
didn't really have a problem with it.
I think like at some points too, like, and maybe it's like when you land on an enemy, it kind of sounds like a paint drop. Like if you were to drop like a bucket of paint.
Yeah. Also, whenever an enemy like inks you, like shoots you with like the black ink, I feel like it kind of gives you. I want to describe it as like Super Mario. See, I wanted to say Super Mario, but now I'm starting to think it's like Sonic. Whenever you're like drowning in water,
Oh yeah,
it
it's like
kind of gets like tenser and tenser.
yeah, it's like a panic. Like the music
Yeah,
changes
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like, and it you know like it's more intense as you get closer to running out of ink because when you get black inked like that, if you're at 100, you have way more time and it's less like crazy. Like the music's not like, oh, you better get this off, you better get this off. But when you're close, when
Yeah,
you're in
yeah,
like
yeah.
the tens and down, it sounds like you said Sonic, like you're drowning in the water, and it's like, oh well, you're
Yeah.
screwed. You better get there.
Or maybe describe it as like Jaws theme song, where like it slowly starts off slow and then just keeps building up and building up.
That's that. Yeah, I can see that. We'll go with that. Jaws music when you're about to die. Anything else for music, Dan? Or sound? Any relation to anything?
Oh, I feel like this might be something to kind of talk about sound, even though it's not really like sound. It's more of everybody's talking. Like they don't actually talk; they just kind of like mumble. It's kind of like in The Sims, how they have like their own little language. That's how the Blob is. They just kind of speak gibberish,
I
unless
feel like
they
they
say
just
like
say
people's
blob over
names.
and over.
I
That's
don't
what I
know if they
kept
would just
getting
say
out of it.
the
It's like
Blob. I'm pretty
blah
sure
blah
they would
blah
say
blah.
like their names would be like perfect English.
Yeah, it's like I would say it's pretty similar to The Sims, where they're like,
Yeah.
and it's like
Like
I don't,
baby talk, kind of.
yeah, and I'm like I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, overall I think sound's done pretty well.
Yeah, I
We're
really
gonna talk
liked
about the
it. I
Tropico
thought,
theme song.
Tropico, yeah, whatever Tonsa was going on about. Tropico theme song apparently into Blob.
The revolutionary beat. It's
oh,
Tropico.
sure.
Like it makes me think of on playing Tropico 4 and just like being a dictator as I'm painting walls.
You're you're leading the revolt, man.
Yeah. I even looked it up right before this. I was like, because I wanted to make sure that was the right song, and I was like, I just let it play, and I was like, I wonder if Tropico stole this, because I was like, when I picture Tropico, that is the sound.
Maybe they were like, oh, you can use
Or
it.
I just don't know any culture for like the revolution or anything.
That's
it's
probably
like a common.
that's
There's
probably
like a
more
common
accurate.
thing. Yeah, probably.
All right, so now we are going to open up the floor and talk about anything that made an impact.
Well,
Yeah,
I said mine, Tropico. Maybe you want to play Tropico.
Never played it.
I also had an issue
I
with
don't
the
know.
sound, though. I guess I could talk about that real quick. I just couldn't adjust my volume, even if the sound's all the way off. It was still like full volume. I couldn't understand that.
Tonzo was the only one with that problem.
Yeah,
But I was able to go
yeah.
in my audio mixer on my computer and turn it down. I also, like a weird person, always has something up on another monitor or screen that's just kind of going in the background. So like I definitely noticed it a lot more. Like when Tony was streaming and I was playing, and I was like, I can barely hear. So, but that was it. Once I turned it down, it was fun. Like I still got to hear the game. It just wasn't overpowering.
So, Lauren, how about since you played this on your brand new Steam Deck, did you have any issues with it? Was there any like frame drops or anything like that?
Uh, I really don't think so. I thought it played really well on it. And it was super nice to be able to use my AirPods while I played. So that was a big bonus. And the battery life on the Steam Deck is way better than the Switch. So that was like a big bonus too.
That's good. I just didn't know if like since the Steam Decks are new, if there was going to be any issues, especially with like older titles.
Yes, for them porting everything, making
Yeah,
it compatible.
I don't know. I know like there's been reported like some games have issues. This one does not say it's optimized for the Steam Deck, but I personally didn't have any
Oh,
issues
and you
with
played
it
it
on there.
fine.
Yeah, I will say I tried to remote play it from my desktop and that looked terrible.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so but installing it on the Steam Deck it played perfectly fine. I didn't have any complaints or any issues.
All right, so I'm gonna do my like one of the things that made an impact for me. So after you finish each level, it opens up challenges for that level. There's 2 challenges per level as you go, and these are can be as simple as like painting buildings, like collecting those like glowing rocks when you're doing the races. And there is one level, I think it's the second or third level, I'm not sure. It's one of the challenges. You are given 60 paint points, and you have to follow these rocks leading into an area where you got to paint all 60 buildings. On the way there, there's cars coming after you. You have to get these glowing things or the gate won't open. This is the most precise challenge that I did throughout the whole game because if you get hit by a car, you have to restart. If you accidentally like paint a light post, you have to restart. It gives you exactly what you need. And it actually took me like 6 or 7 tries to get it because it's like almost like learning the pattern of the cars and stuff. It's really crazy.
I would not have done it.
Yeah, I didn't do any challenges.
But I thought that was different because this game is very casual, and that was almost like super mode. I don't even know how to explain it. Like that was like no room for error at all. So I did get it, but it's pretty interesting. Definitely one of the challenges. Like if you were to try them, that's one of the ones I would say give a shot because it's so different than all the others. Any other things that made an impact? Things you disliked about the game? It's
I
literally
didn't
open.
like that. I didn't like that when you filled up your paint meter, you got fatter and moved slower. That was my only gripe with it.
Yeah, I had a couple times where like that was a big negative for me. Not like negative about the game, but negative in what I had to
Exactly.
accomplish
Yeah.
in the
That was
game.
my only gripe about it is like I wanted to have more paint so that I can move and paint more buildings faster, but I felt like I painted it faster when I had to go when I was only like 20 to 30 range. I could jump from building to building smoothly and paint the buildings and then go grab more paint and then go back to where I was. Rather than having 100 and moving slow as can be and just not being able to jump as far and stuff like that. That was the only thing I came up with.
I think I don't know if this is the same mission you were struggling with, Lauren, but a little later in the game, there's like those weird like apartment things that are attached to that wall, and
Oh, yeah. I
there's a
know.
race, or I think it's a race that you have to like slide underneath one apartment and like get on top of the
Yeah,
other apartment. Well, if you're like 70 or above like paint points,
too
you do
fast.
not fit in that hole. So I had to fail that challenge, go randomly paint stuff, then come back at like 50, and I was able to squeeze through. So I don't know if that's what you were talking about, Lauren, but I was like, what is happening?
No, I don't remember in particular what the issue was. The only thing that I had a hard time with is you can attest you're in the room. There's that one, like, challenge or whatever that I forget what they call it. It's like a centrifuge or something, but it spins and you have to go up and then go around, hit like 50 of blue, and then go the other direction and hit 50 of whatever color. And every time I went the one way, I could not, even if the thing that pushes you off the ledge was in, it would not let me go in front of it. It I don't know what was wrong with that particular like area, but I would have to jump and merge my way over it to keep going, and I got knocked off so many times. I was so frustrated.
Are you talking about the level where they have all the pistons like pushing out? They're on like the conveyor belt. You go blue one way and yellow the other way. It's kind of like the second or third to last level.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, I had that same exact problem with the pistons. I kept getting stuck like right on the corner of it. So it's like I had to like basically almost fall off of the conveyor belt to go around it.
Yeah, I had to go over it, even when it was completely in the wall still. I had to, like, it would show me trying to go over it. It was weird.
I didn't have
was
that
mad as
issue.
could be, though.
But for that part, I don't know if I was like blind, but I could not figure out how to get up on the I think it was the blue side. I was like, how do I get up there? And I didn't realize that there was one of those Z pads that
Yep.
takes you like to a higher up area. And then I was like, wow, the yellow side would have been so much easier if I could have
Yep.
shot up there.
Yeah.
But I do remember that. That is like towards the end of the game.
Yep.
Another thing I really liked is one of the levels, and this isn't anything like crazy. You're in an amusement park,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty cool. There's like a bunch of rides, which are
Hey, you like the giraffe? Huh? That's your favorite part?
yeah. I love the giraffe.
I liked that area. It was probably my favorite area. Was the amusement park.
Yeah, but
So I'll be honest with you, I don't remember amusement park.
it's towards
Did you
the
even play the game?
Did you notice it was an amusement park, or?
Maybe I just didn't notice.
Hey,
but
it doesn't really look much like an amusement park until you do like one or two the landmark things. Like one's a giraffe.
one's
Oh man, I don't remember no giraffe.
You probably just didn't do that part.
Dude, I tried not to do the challenges. I hated them so much.
Same.
Yeah, same. But
I would do,
I
like,
did
the
because it made it
blue-
go faster.
Yeah, I would basically only do like the zip ones. Like I think that's his name, like the blue guy, where
Yeah.
you kind of just follow like the flares.
Yeah, I did those. I did the defeat enemies. I mean, if it had me paint something a certain color, I just ended it.
Yeah.
Did you do the challenge for Zip that has you ride on top of the monorail all the way around the city?
No,
Uh-uh.
I didn't do that.
So
I didn't know that
I
was
don't think so.
I don't, it's the level that you. It's like
That prison breakout one. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I don't think so. At the very end, you have like an area where there's like three guys that like have like the big black ink like guns that they spray. You know those ones. And you go up there and you have to defeat the three, and then after that, it turns into like a paint easel, or is that what they're called? The painting boards, the ones that you'd put like all your different paints on. So
Yeah.
directly across from that, there's a challenge on top of the monorail for Zip, and it requires you to ride each section. Like for each monorail, you have to get off of the train cart and then jump on the top and then jump like time it on the other side. And you have to do it all the way around the whole city. Every area you were just in, you have to go around. It takes like 3 minutes to do. So
Nope.
it's interesting though, because you just kind of get to see everything. I actually found one of my like little style things that I couldn't find by riding it.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so pretty interesting. Is there any other things that made an impact for you guys?
Nope. Mine was
Yeah, I think
mainly
I'm
art.
good.
All right, so every episode we go around and we see what everyone's time to completion was. So we'll start with Tony. What is your time to complete for this game?
4.5 hours.
4.5 hours?
I did literally the bare minimum.
That's fair. What about you, Dan?
Oh boy, 7.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it says on Steam, like 7 exactly. So I don't know.
Lauren?
Steam says 9.1.
Tunza?
Steam for me says 7.5.
Nice. Steam for me says 11.7, but I 97%ed this game. I missed like a billboard here and there in the levels, and I was like, I'm not gonna go back for like one billboard, or like to paint the blimp.
Right.
So 11.7 hours for me, which I figured I had the longest time in it because I did so much of it.
Right.
All right. So before we head into the last section of the episode, is there anything else you guys want to talk about for De Blob?
Nope.
Oh, fine.
Good.
I think we're good.
All right. So, recommendation. Each episode, we go around and find out if we would recommend the game and why or why not. So, starting with Dan this episode, would you recommend this game
no.
and why or why not?
I'm always a hard one to please. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say I don't recommend it, but I also don't want to say I do. Like, I had issues with it. Like, I don't know. I felt like the camera angles were kind of bad here and there. Where it's like I would be like kind of beside a building and then it would turn me like facing away from the building, but it'd be like so close to the building. I was basically like inside of myself a lot. And I kept getting like stuck on like corners of buildings where I couldn't really go around it. Like I had to drop down and then try to climb myself back up. But I had fun with it, so I don't really know. Like I'm kind of in the middle, I guess.
Okay, so you can't give it a full recommendation, but you don't not recommend it
Yeah.
either.
Yeah. I guess if you have like if you've been looking into this game and you want to give it a try, I would say go for it.
I just think it's very casual.
Yeah.
But all right,
Niche.
what about you, Tony?
It was all right. I mean, I did the bare minimum, so I didn't do any like challenges per se, like you guys did, or anything like that. So I was just trying to get through the game. I really didn't listen to the music, so that's why I didn't put in on the music. I was listening to um Spotify the entire time. So I mean, the art style is awesome. The concept of the game is pretty cool. Like, if you're just looking for like an easy, like family friendly game, yeah, I'd recommend it for you. But if you're looking for like something more in depth, like a fighting, it's not like a fighting type game or anything like that. Like, yeah, you have a couple boss battles here and there, but like, it's not about fighting. So it's more like family oriented type of game. So I'd recommend it for families and stuff like that.
That's fair. What about you, Tunza?
I always find it hard to judge games when I buy them for like really cheap because they're $5, and I definitely feel like it's worth it. $5. Myself am not the biggest fan of like kids kind of games. They make me feel stupid. Like shit goes over my head real bad. Like I'm trying to like plow through it, and it's like go over there, and so like that aspect. But like I was saying, we were all I was in a Discord chat with everybody, and I was talking about how like chill this game is. It's a good like unwinding, just kind of relax. Like the music kind of goes, and you're not doing anything. Like it's very casual. Like, and then for kids, it's probably fine. They'll probably just not like that it's fast. I think it shows its age a little bit. I think if it was like faster or moved, I don't know how the second game plays. But for the price point I got it, I would definitely recommend it. For full price, no, just because it's not really my cup of tea, and I think it shows its age a bit.
All right, Lauren, what about you?
So I really really like games like this. Like you said, I think we bought it for like $5. So money-wise, I think it was worth it. It gave us 8-9 hours worth of gameplay. I do think that it's something that shouldn't be done in one sitting or within just like back to back, like 2-3 days. I think it would be
agree.
better enjoyed spaced out. Just because a lot of the levels, like, you're doing the same thing for most of them. You're painting the area, you're destroying the enemies. Like, in that aspect, as long as you're giving it time, like I said, to actually enjoy it, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very casual. This was my pick. I'd never finished this game, but I had played a ton of it previously. I even played it back on like the Wii. Um, I think it pretty much still holds up as what I remember of it, and I think it's fun. It's very casual. I think that's the biggest portion of this. Part of the reason I picked it was because we've been playing some like kind of brutal games as of recent. We played Elden Ring and Going Under was our last episode, like these roguelike games. So I wanted it to be something just more casual that you didn't really have to like worry about anything. This game's timed, but at no point are you ever struggling with time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I would recommend it. Nowadays, buying a game from 2008 for like 20-30 bucks is kind of steep, but we paid $5. I got every bit of $5 worth. I enjoyed it. I had a good time playing it. If it's something that you've kind of looked at, just pull the trigger on it. Just play it. Have a good time. Set an hour or so aside and just breeze through it for a little bit. Like just do everything and just kind of see what it offers. And you'll know after like level 2 or 3 if you're gonna want to finish it. To be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, a little kind of mix this episode for the game. It seems kind of people are a little all over, which is good because usually we're all like, yeah, play it. But it kind of changed it up. But all right, so we added something new this episode, and we're going to read some reviews for the Blob in a new segment called Good, Bad, and Funny. One of us every game will dive into the Steam review dungeon and find a good review, a bad review, and a review that we found funny. This episode, that honor goes to Tony. So, Tony, read some reviews for us.
So some of the reviews, like on Nintendo Lite, gave it an 8 out of 10. Metacritic gave it a 72. IGN gave it an 8.4. So I mean, it's definitely got some good headway going through it. But some of the reviews that I found on here were pretty silly on Reddit. Um, I guess like because this game started on as the Wii, like this one guy was just like so mad that he had to use the motion controls to jump. He's like, this game is trash and I hate the motion controls. Please switch this. Some other guys responded to him and saying they just imported it. Maybe you should give it another try, Slick. So I mean, like, there's some pretty good reviews over here, but and then yeah, I mean, these reviews, like, it looks like everybody enjoyed the game once they got rid of the Wii motion control. Like, I guess that was a big gripe about it in all the forums and everything.
That makes sense because early on, I think this came out before they did Wii Motion Plus too.
Right.
Yeah, it did.
So this was probably rough. I don't
All
really
right, so
remember it that too much like back then, but
I'm gonna throw in some Steam ones real quick. Sentient Ball, Pant Genocides and Alien Race. One was, it's a good game. I hope someone out there plays it on acid.
oh god.
Yeah, definitely do not do that. You'll just like you'll kill yourself probably.
Nintendo accidentally uploaded Splatoon 3 to Steam.
This one's pretty good. It's a big long review. I'm not gonna read that part, but this person said they bought it on sale And then after almost 50 hours of
Oh.
playtime and getting all the achievements, I can summarize it as, you can tell this had potential, but the execution is so flawed. I'm really glad I bought it on sale and I will never play it again.
Oh my god.
You played it for 50 hours.
Okay, 50 hours is
50
probably a
hours.
little torture.
Why'd they play for so long?
He tortured himself in that sense.
I don't know. That's crazy. I mean, if I were to go back and finish this and actually 100% and get all the achievements, I'd probably be at 13 hours.
Right.
Like,
Right.
What?
why is he playing for 50 hours?
That's what I said. I was like, what?
Couple other things I just want to note real quick. There is a multiplayer to this. We did not play any of that. There's a bunch of like behind the scenes stuff in the extras for the game. I didn't really look at those either.
Didn't check any of that out.
But there's like some extra stuff there, and it did well enough to get one sequel to Blob 2, which I have never played.
A lot of people on the forums were saying the Blob 2 is better than the first one.
That's
That
what I'm reading too.
Some of these negative reviews are bad. I'd rather die.
I'm looking at that one right now. 13.9 hours on record.
yeah.
I'd rather die.
And then there's one that's a less fun version of Graffiti that was made by Tony Hawk, or I don't know how he spelled Hawk wrong. He was like the pro skater mechanics that are supposed to be played with a Wii controller. He was like, at least I could say it's split screen or something. People are weird, man.
Yeah, I love the reviews. They crack me up.
They convince me to buy games even if they're bad sometimes.
I just love that they do bad reviews and they'll have like 130 hours. Worst game ever.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, worst game ever. I would like played it more than an average person.
Yeah. It's like if I dislike a game, I'm probably going to stop in the first few hours, not 150 hours later.
Right.
But, all right. So, Lauren has the pick for the month of May. So, Lauren is going to tell everyone what game we're playing and why she chose it.
Hey, so I picked Cadence of Hyrule. I picked that one, so there was plenty of games I could find, and most of them are puzzle games, and I was trying to pick something that we haven't played, like style-wise. So that one is a rhythm action adventure game, which looks pretty neat. It's got like remixed music from the Zelda games. You go to the beat, you attack enemies, like it looks really good. And the main story, How Long to Beat, says it's average like 5.5 hours. It's not super long. So I thought it looked really good. I've had it for a while and haven't played it yet, so.
Yeah, I've had Crypt of the Necro Dancer forever.
Yeah, so
Like,
you
I've
could play
never
the Zelda version.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, is it different? Like,
It
is
had-
act-
I don't know how.
It's got Zelda worlds and Zelda characters and music, but I think the gameplay is basically the same idea from what I'm understanding. I don't know. I didn't want to look too much into it.
Yeah, I'll look into it.
But I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play that game. I bought it like 5-6 years ago and I never played it. Well, the Crypt of the Necro Dancer.
Yeah, I'm
It's like
excited.
90% of the stuff that you buy, Tonsa.
Yeah, that's what happens, man.
I'm excited to play some remixed Zelda music.
Yeah.
I hope there's one that's like a straight up like DJ.
That'd be sweet.
All right, so Cadence of Hyrule is our game for May, not March. I'm not going backwards.
No.
I thought you said tomorrow.
All right, so I had a lot of fun talking about the Blob on NLGC, but before we go, we wanted to share where you can find us online.
First, we have a YouTube channel called Nerdlag where we'll be uploading some great content, so make sure to subscribe for the latest videos. We have a Facebook page at Nerdlag Game Club. Make sure to like the page so you can get the latest news about the podcast. You can also find us over on Twitter at Nerdlag, where we share some of the latest gaming news and stuff we find interesting. And lastly, we have a Discord at Nerdlag where you can talk to us in voice chat and join in some discussion about everything nerdy like video games, anime, movies, and chat with like-minded people. If you'd like to join, ask for an invite. We also want to thank everyone that tuned in for this episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you share it with your friends. And also follow us on Spotify. It really helps.
On to the final credits. At the end of every episode, we like to just talk about what is going on in our world of playing games or gaming news, anything that has caught our attention since the last episode. So yeah, we leave this little segment at the end so we could talk about all of that stuff. Is there anything that somebody wants to start off with?
Crawling back to Valorant. I think that's just been a theme of like the podcast is like we talked about Elden Ring and we were all off of that play, like all just only playing Elden Ring, and then now I'm crawling my way back to Valorant.
Yeah, I still want to beat Elden Ring, but I have to give it a break. I have to give it a break. I put like 40 hours into it. I'm still not even close to beating it.
Oh my gosh, same with Tonsa.
You're right,
Yeah, but the
you're
thing
right.
is, Tonsa will never beat it. Like, I'll actually beat it.
Ooh.
That's the thing.
Ooh.
Are you sure you finished games, Tony?
Yeah, I finish games all the time, man.
Okay.
Um,
I might beat it. Who knows? I'll leave it up to the end of the year.
so Dan and Tons have been on the Valorant kick. Dan also started playing Cat Cafe Manager.
Cafe Manager.
Hell yeah.
And I only
Yeah.
sell water.
He had me
And you only
cracking
sell
up
water?
last night. He's like, "Oh, you want a pretzel? Well, all we have is water."
Man.
So that game,
Uh,
What is
I
it,
was
free?
enjoying it,
What is
though.
free?
Free for me, not for them.
yeah. So that game, they start out with giving you like nothing, and they have the weirdest currency. He's like, "Oh, I need to buy a litter box. Here's 345 fish."
Yeah,
What?
it's
Is
the
it like
weirdest
50?
thing.
What?
No, so there's different like
Who
all
are
the
you
characters
bartering
are
with?
different. All the characters are like their personality. Like some are fishermen, some are witches, some are business people, and based on their things, they give you different like currencies. So like the fishermen people, they pay with fish. The witches pay with nectar.
That's weird.
It's weird.
Sounds like a way to avoid taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan had me rolling last night, just
Me
like,
too.
"Oh, you want a pretzel? Too bad. All I got is water."
And they were not happy.
I would be pretty upset. I guess you're just mainly just trying to hang out with some cats.
And his cats didn't have a litter box, so they just kept peeing on the floor.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was
How do you
was
expect
awful.
me to pay for water and then smell pneumonia while I sit in the corner and maybe pet a cat?
You wanted to play with the cats, man. Should come to a cat cafe.
That's true.
Well, I expect a little more out of you.
But you only played that for a couple hours, so I'm curious of how that develops more.
I don't know. I got like more recipes now, so yeah.
But
What, lemon water? You cut a lemon?
Oh my god! And then he got a coffee maker, but he's like, "Oh my god, I need coffee beans." And I was like, "Oh yeah."
But well,
that's
now
how
I
you
guess
make
they get two
coffee."
choices of water: room temperature, hot.
And then I got tea.
Oh,
And
you
I got like
tea?
herbal tea.
then when he got off last night, he had just hired a cook.
Yeah.
Thanks, yeah.
There's also
How did you stay up? Holy shit! I just realized that.
I stayed up to like 6 a.m.
Okay,
Ish.
okay.
he also
That's typical.
he has a
It's like
homeless
I got up
guy.
at like 3:30.
Dan has a homeless guy that comes in all the time.
Oh,
Multiple homeless
He
people.
buys water.
He loves the water. All of them.
Oh, homeless people.
It's because they don't have anywhere to sleep and they can't get clean water. What do they pay with? Garbage?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
What's
remember
their
what
bartering
one
system?
is.
Bottle caps.
I'm
Oh,
so
now I have
ex-
to open the
I'm
game.
so excited that he started playing that. It was awesome.
Me and Dan played Raft. We have our best start.
Oh yeah, we need to.
Yeah, you played it
play that
once.
again.
Then I literally said it to you guys when you were in Discord. I was like, "Oh, you'll play this one time, and then you'll stop playing it for a while. Then you'll come back and go, I don't know what we were doing. Let's restart."
Yeah. Because you
Then
got
get
me,
to the
because I
same
do that to
spot and stop
myself.
playing.
Yeah. We're
Um,
both looking good this time, though.
I started playing FIFA 20 last night.
Why'd you go that far back?
That's the only one I had.
He's
Oh,
apparently the best in the world.
I am pretty
I'm-
good
I don't know whose standards he's the best in the world.
to my
That's
world.
what he was telling us last night.
But my goal is, so I started a franchise with the crew, like as their manager, and I'm just like wiping house. My goal is to have only players from the age of like 20 and under.
okay.
Labor, I get it.
Uh, so that's kind of what I've been doing, and I actually like that side of it more. I used to like to play like the FIFA, but now I'm like, oh, it's a game, and then I'm like, but I want to see who like my scouts
tried the-
found.
Have you tried like the Football Manager game?
I
on
haven't.
the-
I've seen a little bit of it. I might have to give it a shot.
It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's
Are they?
yeah.
Yeah, I downloaded it last night.
But
No, he didn't. He's a liar.
what about you, Tony?
Okay.
You playing anything outside of the podcast game?
Yeah, I've been streaming Bliss the League on my Twitch channel. I've uploaded a couple videos on YouTube. A Fallout video, Skyrim video, which kind of sucked me back in. So I've been playing Skyrim a little bit more.
No
In
surprise
those
there.
Frost, man.
Right. I think like total, like out of my entire life, I probably have like over 3,000 hours played in Skyrim because I already have like 300 hours
That's probably
on Skyrim right now.
that's probably an understatement.
An understatement.
Yeah, that dude's probably played like I don't know, like a full year of Skyrim.
He's the one that will buy a Samsung TV to play Skyrim on the TV.
Yeah.
He's just stand in front of his refrigerator and play Skyrim on the little monitor.
Right. I'll buy it for the Switch just so I can play it going other places.
I wonder if that port's good. You
I
gotta
don't
get
know,
yourself a Steam Deck, man.
Well,
There you go.
Yeah,
Lauren,
I
talk
mean-
about the Steam Deck.
Yeah. Lauren got a Steam Deck. Lauren, you
Woo!
mentioned it.
She's
but-
one of the fancy people. She'd be balling.
So I did get the Steam Deck. It was the middle tier like model, but I think it has like 256 gigs.
Yeah, they
of
were just going
space.
off hard drive space, right?
Right, and then it has a slot that it supports something crazy, like up to a 2 terabyte SD card.
Yeah, they make those now. It's crazy. I seen one the other day.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive still though for that high. But I think it's super nice. It's really cool that you can switch to desktop mode and it's running Linux, so you can do anything on it that you would on a computer basically. I downloaded my own like wallpaper. I downloaded Discord.
You
I
can do
mean,
all
you
the
can-
emulator games.
Yeah, you can do emulators. Like they encourage it too. It's crazy. They'll like post stuff about it. I think it's worth its money if you're a PC gamer. I was going to buy a laptop because I wanted something for like mobile gaming. If I'm in Corey's game room instead of mine, I can still play Steam games. And $500 is much cheaper than like a $1,500 laptop.
Yeah, I think that.
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
from what I've seen, like it plays everything too pretty well. So I think it'd be better than a mid-tier gaming laptop.
Exactly. So I thought that was nice. The screen's pretty big. It's bigger than my Switch, like
Yeah, it's like
by quite a bit.
it's got like 4 inches or so, or I don't know. I held it the other day. I didn't really get to play much on it. I like the haptic feedback, how everything gives off like a touch,
Yeah, I
like the
like that too.
pads.
So like screen wise, like what kind of iPhone screen would it have? Like is it like the Plus, like the X Plus or whatever then?
Like bigger than the Switch.
It's
Nah,
bigger Switch screen. So.
It's bigger than a Switch screen?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. That's what I was trying to get, like how big the screen is.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's bigger than the Switch
Yeah,
screen.
Lauren, you'll have to
Sure.
download some games on there so I could try them out.
Yeah,
Because you only
for
had
sure.
the Blob on there, I think.
Yeah, I
That's the only
mean,
thing.
I didn't know what else to download because that's what I was playing at the time. So now I'll have to actually try out some other stuff. But I do really like it. I think it was worth the money for me. If you like to play PC games and you would like to have a way to play them without being attached to your computer, I think it's worth the money.
Yeah.
If you don't care and you're like, hey, my whole life is sitting at my desk, maybe not for you, but I think it was worth it for my lifestyle, anyways.
I think if you play the Switch not docked,
Correct.
like you
Yeah.
prefer to play your Switch just in handheld mode, then
Mhm.
it's probably for you and you're able to play like even more games that way.
Right, like
Right.
I can sit in another room, I can sit on the couch, stuff like that, and play Steam games instead of being locked up in my game room. So that's
And you're
nice.
not limited to like what's there's Steam has probably the most variety of games out of all of like your first like before your first party shit.
Oh, for
Right.
sure. And they run, I feel like, the most sales on games, so you could
So
get a
like
bunch of
with the
games.
Steam Deck, what games are like? Is it limited to like what games are available on the Steam Deck?
Well, they're promising everything, but there is a limited now. But it's a huge number.
Okay.
Like
And they list on there, like, they'll take your library and condense it into what's optimized for Steam Deck so they can guarantee that it runs well. And then there's your regular games, which you can download, they just can't guarantee that they will work flawlessly.
Okay, I got you.
So, like, the Blob was one that is not optimized. I was taking that chance just trying it, and I didn't have any issues with that one in particular. But, I mean, I haven't found anything that it said I can't play on it so
Okay,
far.
All
that's
right.
good to know.
Before we
Mhm.
go, Tonsa, you playing anything personal other than like Valorant?
I don't know. I'm in the process of deciding my next game. I started playing this game called Archvale, which is a little. I don't even know how to describe this game. Like it's a little like it's a humble one of those like humble games or like humble bundle games. But you're like a little dude. It's like almost like a twin stick shooter dungeon crawler type thing. So
Interesting.
that's basically it so far. I've been like dabbling. I've jumped in the Weird West. You know me. It's gonna take a minute for me to get stuck on something.
All right. I had fun having this little extra time at the end of the episode for us to talk about whatever gaming related stuff. But I think it's time for us to install the next game and get ready for the next episode. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you.
Bye.
I
Bye.
Peace.